Welcome to Doing Life Together, episode 33. It is Sonia Eckel, your host. It is so good to see you all. Hello. Okay, so this week, the word that God laid on my heart is fear. All right. So I was like, okay, what do you want? All week I've been asking him, what is it you want me to talk about around that word? And so throughout the week, I've just been getting a sense that the question I have for you is well, let me say this. Are you sometimes so busy thinking about and dwelling on what you don't want, what you don't like about your life, that you never give yourself a minute to actually think what you do want your life to look like? Put in the comments if you are guilty of being like, oh my goodness, I just want to quit this job. Oh my word, I can't wait till I retire. Oh my word, this, my husband, my wife is driving me crazy. The kids are crazy. And you're thinking you're spending a lot of time, a lot of energy on what it is you don't want, the things you really don't like in your life right now. Tell me I'm not alone, right? Like I lived a lot of my life wishing away the things that I didn't want. And then I began to understand the power of giving space to getting clear on what it is I do want. Not clear on what I don't want. We all know what we don't want. It doesn't feel good. We don't like it. It's relationships that aren't working well. It's money, your bank account that is not covering your needs well. We know what we don't want. A marriage that isn't great. Children that, you're having some challenges, whatever. It's not hard to speak about what's not going well in your life. Okay? It's not hard to dwell on the things you don't want. So my question today is, what is it you do want? Okay? So if you didn't have all of the baggage that all of us have, like, hello, if you grew up on planet Earth, even if you grew up like a fairy tale upbringing and you were protected from all harm and all of that, I will almost still bet you money you got baggage. Okay? I do. I mean, I hope not. I mean, man, if you don't, that's fabulous. But we all have these inside stories. And even if nobody said that to us, we interpreted life a certain way. And so what would your life look like if you were able to break through and stop holding yourself back? Because really, let's be honest, that's the only thing that's keeping you from the life that you want, the things you want. You truly, I think, to understand that your life is what you've architected it to be. The victim mentality is someone else did this to me. My life looks like this because I didn't grow up in a wealthy family, because I was abused as a kid, because I had to come out of a bad marriage, because I got looked over on a promotion at work. So that's victim, right? And that is assuming that someone else created the life you're living in. I would say we've created our life that we're living in. It's true, right? Like your decisions got you here. So what do you want it to look like? Because here's what I believe is that when you get clear on what you want, instead of wasting all your energy on what you don't want, now you can shift the picture. And I know this is true. And the reason I know it is true is because I've walked it out. So the word fear. So I've been asking God, like, okay, what are we talking about? Fear. So, I mean, fear has so many definitions. If you watch the news, chances are probably fairly high that you live in a certain level of fear. Fear about what's happening in our country, no matter what side of the aisle you sit on. I don't really care. If you watch the news makes money on keeping you glued to it. Guess what doesn't keep it glued? Positive things. Like, it's like, oh, yay, that's fine. But that's not a strong enough emotion to keep that, the news, and just keep you engaged and listening and watching. And so fear is an insanely powerful emotion. I invite you guys to go back to 2020, late 2019. A huge percentage of our nation moved from living life into a serious, intense, might I even say paralyzing for many, fear. And in that fear, do you make your best decisions? That's my question for you. When you are in a state of fear, do you actually think you make your best decisions? Put in the comments, like, do you think fear helps you make better decisions? Yeah, we might get into a big discussion. Some of you might think so. Do you think fear helps protect you in some way? Like when you're fearful, do you think maybe it protects you from some stuff? Because here's the fact, if you are living in that level of fear, which if you are not alone, and I have been there, so I get it. If you're living there in fear of some form, you're still there because you believe it has some benefit to you. I would venture to say that most people think their fear is protecting them. Like, well, if I weren't fearful, I might make a stupid decision. If I weren't fearful, maybe something bad, you know what I'm saying? So I'm curious, do you guys think, if you live in any form of fear, which then we're going to move on. So that's an obvious form of fear, like fear for your life, fear for your freedoms as an American, fear for, fear. All right. So that's one thing. Obviously there's intense real-time fear. A tiger's chasing you, right? Like that's fear. Fortunately, not a lot of tigers here in America anyway. But I mean, so there's a lot of different definitions to fear. I would love to hear, what would you do in your life if you absolutely knew that you could not fail? If you knew you could not fail, what would you do then? If you had guaranteed success, what would you do? I actually want to hear in the comments, y'all. Come on. Let me see. Hopefully comments are showing. And if you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, for those of you watching on Facebook, and you type in your name, then I can see who I'm chatting with, which is way more fun than it just saying Facebook user. So can you just give me a minute though? I actually want an answer. What would you do in your life if you knew you could not fail? Now, when I say could not fail, it's not only that you knew you could be successful at what you are hopefully writing in the comments and sharing, but also that you can't fail on having enough money, having enough time, all those things that we usually use as excuses. If all those things were they weren't an issue, like they were just taken care of, what would you do? I'd love to hear. All right, so that's one level of fear, is like fear for your life, fear for deep, deep personal freedoms, whatever it is. That's a very real fear. And I don't know if you would agree, but fear, I have been in pretty intense states of fear. I can think of a couple times in my life in particular. And I felt paralyzed by it. I actually felt like I don't know, just paralyzed. I don't know if you guys feel that. All right. So now let's step it back a little bit. So that's intense fear. And maybe that's what you think about with fears. But now I have a question for you. So I think I shared with you on previous episodes that when I'm in a leadership course right now. It's really fabulous. And I know I keep telling y'all that, but really, truly, it's very, if you want to break through, it's pretty powerful, extremely powerful, actually. But one of the things that came to the surface was fear of looking stupid. And I've done a lot of emotional work. God has cleared out so many things. Even in my book, I write a lot about this. If you guys have not grabbed my book, you should. I just did an interview for this. I'm so excited for that to come out. But emotional work, when I realized that emotions were optional and I didn't have to live with them, it was my choice to keep them, changed my life. But despite all the work, something that popped up was the fear of looking stupid. And I don't know if any of you can relate to that. And so then when I tracked that back And I was like, why do I have this fear of looking stupid? And I was able to track it back to a pretty young age, probably about when I started school. And I was blessed with great parents and a fairly good home life, whatever, all the things. Like, I'm really grateful. And when I went to school, I realized I was different. Like, I had not grown up with a TV. I didn't know beans about the church world because all I knew was my one little way that I'd been told was the right way all my life. And so I come into the world of people outside of my just little loving bubble. And suddenly I realized I can't relate to people. I don't really know much about sports because we don't have a TV, so didn't grow up watching a lot. Now, fortunately, I had some older siblings, and like my brother played basketball, so I did have some, but that came even late. Like that wasn't, and of course, TV shows. I was clueless. Didn't go to the movie theater. Oh goodness, no. And didn't know how to dance because we didn't dance. It was hard. Like, how do I even interact with the world that knows all these things and talks about all these things that I don't have a clue about? And so as a young girl, I felt not intellectually stupid. I honestly did not feel intellectually stupid. I just had this fear of looking stupid because I couldn't connect with people on the fronts that most people were connecting. Does that make sense? I don't know if you guys have something like that. Now, like, obviously you didn't grow up in the religion I grew up in, probably, or some of you maybe did, but, or something similar. Like, I've learned since leaving that it's so much more. Oh goodness. I think my Instagram my battery is throwing me a fit. Oh goodness sakes. Sorry guys, let me see if I can get it to back up on Instagram. Maybe, maybe not. I've got my phone. I thought the battery would hold for me, but well, anyway, I'll just have to come back to Instagram later. Sorry about that. All right. So fear of looking stupid was a very real thing that was running my life. And so what I learned is just to kind of stay under the radar when I was clueless, right? Instead of just out and out being like, hey, I grew up without a TV. I don't have a clue what you guys are talking about. I rather hid, and I didn't. So hold on, y'all. I'm gonna see if I can get back on. I don't know if it's gonna let me or not. I spent about 2.5 hours in the Verizon store. I am so not thrilled with having to put my time there today, but hopefully we finally have it. Sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. So what would be your fear? Like, what is it that holds you back from doing things that you would love to do? Like, honestly, when I watched my friends dance, I mean, they grew up dancing. They knew they had like all the moves. Trust me, I wanted to be able to dance. Like, it looked like great fun. It looked like so much fun. But my fear of looking stupid, being clueless how to dance, held me back. And it still has. Like, I literally I cannot even tell you, like, part of my vision is I want to dance like no one's watching. And I do at the ranch, let's be straight. I dance here because no one is watching. But what is it that holds you back? What fear is it? Is it fear of failure? Ooh, that's a good one. Perfectionist. You were, think back as a kid, like, were you told that, did you get the idea that failure was just not an option? Or you didn't know how to handle failure? Anybody avoid trying something because trying means you could fail and failing means you'd have to, that would be failure. Like, anyone at all driven by failure, fear of failure. Another thing is, if for instance, maybe you grew up in a setting where kids are supposed to be quiet and not talk. And so you took on this idea, like, my voice doesn't matter, whatever. That fear could be almost a fear of success. right? If I'm successful, too many people will see me. And then, what if my voice isn't good enough? What if I say something like, hey, let's be real. You guys watch me do this every week. I generally don't have notes. To be quite frank, I don't even know exactly what I'm talking about sometimes when I'm coming on. And oh my goodness, and I drop my phone and all the things. It's a hot mess. And you know what? I could keep myself from doing this because I don't like failure. I really don't. And goodness knows, I'm going to get this thing figured out. Okay, I think I'm with you guys again. Sorry, this is a ride. But you know what this does show is I'm a hot mess over here, but I am trying to do it scared. I'm trying to do it despite the fear that honestly has made a lot of decisions for me in my life. And so I want to invite you guys to put your finger on what has held you back. If you're not living the life of your dreams right now, like your marriage isn't great, your bank account is kind of skimmed, not great, you don't love your work, if something about your life is not super fabulous at the moment, my question for you is, what has kept you from changing it? And I would venture to say that I think at the root of most of it is fear. You know what? There's another one. Here's another one. This has popped up actually. And so I'm going to go back to the religion side of things because actually, again, I think I was starting to say this, after leaving the religion that we were raised in, I actually have gotten to know a lot of other people in totally other different faiths who have such a similar experience. So I realized that this isn't just, maybe they have TVs and whatever, it might not have been like that, but so many commonalities and so much religious trauma, to be honest. What would keep someone in a religion like that doesn't quite line up, doesn't quite fit? You have some questions, but what would keep you there? And I would venture to say it's fear of safety. And my phone is dying, so I'm going to just have to skip. So my question for you as we close is, what holds you back? What's keeping you from actually living the things you want and get you off focusing on what you don't like and get you on doing what you need to do to change it? All right. Now, really quick pivot. A couple of weeks ago, we did a direct selling success formula interview series. It was amazing. It was so good, so fun. And some of you got the VIP upgrade. And so I know some of you are still working through those interviews. And you can find those, I think, at directsaleslive.com if you want to get them. In the process, several of you have been giving feedback, like where you need help. And one of the things I'm hearing a lot of and this would go for entrepreneurship, I think, in many ways, but majorly in direct sales, in network marketing or, direct selling. And that is, how do I lead with confidence? Like some of us have mastered leading ourselves decently well, but when it comes to leading teams, like if you're a business owner, you have to lead a team of employees. And how you lead that team of employees is going to change the results in how your business does. And so leadership is so key in about every realm of life. If you're leading a family, if you're in a marriage, all of those things. So anyway, mark your calendar, and I am going to be doing a free masterclass on the power to lead with confidence, because this is one of my little superpowers. I actually love leadership. I love helping others step into their leadership, like really embody it, embrace it, and take their businesses to the next level. That makes me super happy. And so it will be, what did I just tell you a date? I may have told you wrong. So May 7th, set your reminder. I have it for May 7th, 7 p.m. Central Time. And so stay tuned, and I'll get out the little registration thing so you can get the Zoom link for that. If you want to be part of it, I would be delighted. I have another question for you, and it doesn't necessarily, yes, it does. Actually, I think it does tie to our topic, but I have a question for you. So when you do life, which of these two words phrases would best describe you? Are you someone who is speed? You see something and you're fast. It's speed. You nail it. It's done. You complete it. Speed. Okay. So if that's you, put in the comments speed. If you are just like, no, I just nail it. I know what I want. I see the plan. I follow the plan. Speed. I like fast. Okay. So put speed if that's you. Or would you define yourself maybe as more steady Eddie? Like, I just keep plugging her along one step at a time. I nail it, but I don't do anything too fast because and then you can fill in the blank because if I went too fast, I might make more mistakes or whatever. So put steady in the comments if that's you. You're like just steady. And then if you're really ready to be honest, and this is not a bad thing because we all start somewhere. But how many of you feel stuck? So we've got speed, steady, or stuck. Stuck means I'm paralyzed. I'm paralyzed by fear of something. Oh, did I finish my story about what I think keeps people in a religion that when people start seeing like, hey, this doesn't quite line up, but they still stay? I think it's fear of safety. It feels safer to stay than it does to leave. So I don't even know if that makes sense, but fear of safety. I don't know. I guess, a big reason for fear is your safety. So anyway, interesting. I'm sorry. I'm bouncing all over. The tech stuff kind of threw me off, dropping my phone and getting kicked off because my phone battery's dead. But anyway, so are you speed? Are you steady? Or are you stuck? And shoot it straight. Be honest. Be honest with you. Even if you don't post it in the comments, which it would be fun if you do, but even if you don't, it's an honest question for you to ask yourself. And if you are stuck, do you want to get unstuck? I hope the answer is yes. Like no one wants to live in stuck. We've all been there at some point. We felt stuck. I dare say, no one wants to live there. So if you're stuck, let's get you out of stuck. Okay. Through partnership, through community, through finding good coaching, there are ways to get unstuck. And when you do, it's amazing, right? If you're steady, are you good with steady? You're like, no, I'm slow and steady, wins the race. Steady is good. You get to choose. Like you can stay there if it feels like that's really serving you well. That's great. If you do speed, are you happy with speed? Are you a quick decision maker, but then you make bad decisions? Like if that's the case, then, that's probably not good either, right? So it's not like there's one, well, I think stuck is not preferable, but between steady and speed, I think it's both. I think like having a steady plan that you implement and you stay consistent, I think it's massively important. I also think though, there is a lot of power in learning the power of speed as well. And speed to me is just accelerating the systems you've put in place. So steady has systems, steady has plans, and implements them, which is so good. I think if I had to choose between an implementer and someone who makes decisions and never follows through, like I still want to be the implementer because whether I implement slow and steady or speed, I need to be implementing, right? That's always key. So staying true to those commitments that we make to ourselves and to others is really key. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. And I apologize for my tech glitches. And then we are going to wrap it up for tonight. And we'll see you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday. And then 7 p.m., May 7th. I hope you'll register. I'll get that link out. I don't have it set up yet, or I would give it to you tonight. We'll get a Zoom. And we're going to talk about the power to lead with confidence and maybe some things that'll help you break through on that level. So come hang out with us. And it'll be especially applicable for direct sellers, but certainly I don't think it's only limited to direct sellers. I think it is a lot about entrepreneurship in general. And even if you're an employee, I think your leadership can make a huge difference between future promotions and stuff as well. So, all right, have a great night, everyone. We will see you next week.